Okay friends, one of the first things we have to do to get started on replacing our serpentine belt tensioner is to safely raise and support the front of the vehicle so the wheel's off the ground. Remove all of your lug nuts and the wheel. With the wheel out of the way, we're going to continue on by removing this plastic piece right here. You're going to find 4 push clips. There's 2 right across here that you can easily see, another one towards the rear of the plastic, and then another one up in the front. Go ahead and remove the center from all these and fully remove them. There's the center. This one out of here, we can set this aside. Now that we have that out of the way, we have a nice clear view of our serpentine belt tensioner. That's right up in this area here. Now you can either use a wrench or you can use a serpentine belt tool, but essentially we just want to get something on this. We're going to turn this counterclockwise to release tension, and then we can slip the belt right off of the idler pulley. Once it's off, we can go ahead and get our tool out of the way. Just get this out of the way. Now the next thing we're going to do is remove our idler pulley right here. Let's use our 15 millimeter. Break this free. Get that out of the way. So here's the new tensioner. I kind of have it out because I want to show you exactly what's going on. With the tensioner in the vehicle the way it is now, this is actually swung all the way up to this point, making it almost impossible to be able to get to this bolt. So what I need to do is go ahead and take this. I'm going to turn it counterclockwise, so essentially I can try to line it up and sneak a pin in there. Now I'm not going to remove this pin right now because of course I need it in there for the actual installation of the new one. To make it easier to get to that top bolt, what I did was I just took a ratchet strap. I brought it around the pulley, up and over the crank pulley here, and then I just tied it off to something. I applied some pressure, and that brought the pulley over a little bit towards the left to make it so I can access my 13 millimeter headed bolt. Now the first bolt that I'm going to take out is the upper bolt here because it's the hardest to be able to access. After that, I'll remove the lower one. All right, we got the top one out. As you can tell, it's a little long. Now we can do the lower one. Before I do that though, I want to make sure that I release this pressure so when I do remove the bolt, it's not going to go flinging out. Now we have the upper bolt out. It's time to remove the lower bolt. We already took off our strap, like I said. So I'll just go ahead and take this out. Now the tensioner is going to be able to wobble around, so you want to be very careful not to pinch your fingers in this. Just go ahead and fully remove this bolt. Okay, I've got that bolt out of here. All right, so now I'm just going to pull this down so it's approximately in this position here, and I'm going to try to wedge it right in here so it can't go ahead and move around on me. The next thing I want to do is remove this bolt right here, which is going to in turn remove the pulley. To remove the bolt, we'll use a 15 millimeter socket, and we're going to turn it clockwise, so essentially the opposite way than you normally would. Make sure you watch your fingers from this area. You don't want to get them stuck in a pinch point. We can go ahead and set this pulley aside. Just going to take this and try to slide it down. We want to try to get the pulley end down and underneath this area. Get just the right angle. And there it is, friends. All right, now it's time to install our brand new tensioner. You're going to notice that you have this little piton going inside there. Do not remove this yet. We're going to remove that once we have it fully installed. Obviously, to install this, we're going to want to make sure that we remove this pulley to get it out of the way. Go ahead and remove this bolt the same way you removed the original one. There we are. Now we can get this part of the unit up and into the vehicle, and then we can put back on our pulley. I'll put this in the exact way that we removed the original here. Just start sliding it up and in there. There we are. Now once you've got it so it's up and inside the vehicle, let's go ahead and get that pulley. We'll start it on there, snug it up. Take your pulley, slide it right on there. Now we're going to take our mounting bolt with its corresponding washer. To tighten this up, we're just going to turn it counterclockwise till it bottoms out and give it a little more. Okay, watch for pinch points here. Now we can get our tensioner unit into position, and then we'll start in both of our bolts. Just going to start the lower one in here first. We've got the bottom bolt started. Let's go ahead and put in this upper bolt here. We still have it so we can move the tensioner around as needed. We want to make sure we can line up those holes. Get this in there. There we are. Go ahead and bottom this out. then we'll torque them to manufacturer specifications. Once you have them both started and snugged, we're going to torque them to 212 inch-pounds. Get this one. It's harder to get to. There it is. Now that we have both of those tightened, let's go ahead and put back on our idler pulley here. Let's go ahead and bottom that out. So now for this bolt right here, it's supposed to have a torque specification for 35 foot-pounds. There isn't very much room in between the body of the vehicle and this bolt right here. Just go ahead and take your wrench, put it on there, and make sure it's nice and tight. That feels pretty good. The pulley still spins. All right. Now we're just going to put our belt back on here. You want to make sure that you put it on back in the same exact routing as when you removed it. Should slide right over that tensioner pulley fairly easily because we haven't released the tension yet. Before you go ahead and release the tension, just double check to make sure it's sitting inside all the grooves of each of the pulleys. If it seems like it's sitting off to one side or the other, you could cause some serious damage to your belt and you might have to replace it. Alright, so the next thing that I want to do is put my Serpentine belt tool back up onto this pulley. As you can tell, when I start turning this counterclockwise, it's going to release that pin for me. And then what I want to do is just use a nice magnet, get it up and in there, and then I'll release that lock pin. There we are. My hands are free and clear. Now we can release the tension on this. Get our tool out of the way, and then double inspect your belt. Make sure it's sitting on all these pulleys properly. Like I said before, if it's not and it's off by one tooth, you could seriously damage your belt. All right, now that we have the belt on there, the next thing that I always like to do is just go ahead and start up the car for maybe 5 or even 10 seconds. Go ahead and turn it back off, and then we're gonna triple check that belt. Once you're sure your belt is perfect, let's continue by putting on our splash plate here. Use our little push clips. Slide that in there. Once you have it locked in, just go ahead and push this. There we are. Do the same for this one. And then the same for the other two. Now we can get our wheel back up on here. We're gonna start all of our lug nuts on. We'll snug it up. Then we'll get the wheel back on the ground, then torque all the lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds. Torqued.